Number 38, Trembling Hands. This is a love letter, not a romantic one, but a love letter nonetheless. I do not recall what you look like, but I sure remember how kind and generous you were. My encounter with you took place a few months after I had fled from a domestically violent situation. My son and I were in hiding. Not even my family knew where we were. No one could be trusted. My hands still had a tremor, and although my external bruises had faded, my spiritual and emotional scars were aching. You shared an act of loving kindness with me more than 30 years ago, and I often think of it. More proof that love lingers. It was Christmas Eve, and the lineups at the grocery store were as chaotic as expected. When it was my turn at the checkout, with trembling hands, I grabbed the noodles and cheese off the top of my son's stroller and began to move them to the conveyor belt. Before I could place them down, you moved toward me in the lineup and took them out of my hands. Then you informed the cashier that you would be paying for several things for me. I froze, petrified you were a friend of my abuser sent to locate us. Noting the look of terror that came over me, you said, "This is just a small gift from Father Christmas." I was still skeptical of your motives. Before I had a moment to think of what to do, you had paid the cashier for a hefty order and were placing the bags in my stroller. I left the grocery store with 3 bags of food under the stroller, 2 on top, and 1 in each hand. I walked the opposite way of my apartment until I was sure that neither you nor anyone else was following us. I hope you knew how much I appreciated the food you purchased for us. At the time, I was so frightened and overwhelmed I did not even thank you. When we got home and were safely locked in, we unpacked the food. My son shrieked with delight at the sight of it all. I wept healing tears of affirmation. There were kind-hearted men in the world. As I was unpacking the food, I noticed for the first time since I could remember that my hands were steady. In awe, I raised them in front of me just to look at how still they were. The food you bought me was sustenance to my soul. Thank you. Love, Joey.
Subscribe, like, and share to support this channel.